Hi, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Claudia Mason, and this is AI at the Table. It's a podcast where we're going to talk a little bit about how sales and AI are actually working together in the real world. And today, I'm just like super excited. This is our first episode, and I have the pleasure of talking to Chris O'Shea. Chris, it's so nice to to have you here. It's so
I
nice to see
cannot
you
tell
from
you
Halifax.
how excited I am to be on episode 0000001. This is amazing. Very happy to be
That's
here.
awesome. That's awesome. So, Chris and I work together at the Business Development Bank of Canada, or BDC, as most people come to know it in Canada. Look, you're an avid content creator. And I got to tell you, honestly, I'm really excited whenever you pop up on my feed. Chris does something really awesome. So he multitasks. He has a dog named Ruby,
Yes, I do.
and he goes on walks, and then which he's taking the dog for a walk, and then he films his content, which I absolutely love. And I always know what the weather's doing in Halifax, so
Exactly.
we're across the country here. um, we're going to go over a whole bunch of stuff, but before we dive in,
Mhm.
Chris, why don't you give us a quick snapshot of your background and what you're working
Yeah.
on?
Well,
Great.
happy to do that, and a very big pleasure to be here. Super duper honored to be on this first episode. Don't know
Woohoo.
how I got to deserve it, but here I am. And so Chris O'Shea, I am what's known as a business advisor within BDC Advisory Services. So BDC is a bank, and we have an advisory arm, of which I play a small piece. And so if somebody says they want to grow their business, that's where I get involved at some level. My background is varied, and I come from the tech space. I come from sales. I come from marketing. So all of that I use as ammunition and fuel to talk to entrepreneurs across the country about whatever is going on in their worlds, and that's a mixed bag of everything these days. And I've been doing that for quite some time.
Yeah, how long
And
have you been there?
yeah, so 13 years last month. So
Wow.
I can't even believe I said that out loud. But that's a good stretch of anything for anybody. So I fully realize that. But yes, I do make content. Sometimes good content, sometimes not so good content. And
You
everyone
make
is they're always amazed that I do it whenever I can. So the dog walking is a time management thing more than anything else. But
Of
Ruby
course.
loves it, or she doesn't, and it really doesn't matter. And the true and again, I don't think I'm special, so this is not me bragging. I do it in one take with no
Yep.
edits. There, when
Wow.
I get out of the vehicle with a leash in my hand, I don't know what I'm going to say. I have no idea what's going to come out of my fool mind. And I just do it. And so when somebody says, "Oh, that's so amazing that you're a content creator," and I'm like, "Nope, not amazing. I just do it." And so my advice to anybody who wants to be a
Yeah.
content creator, or even is thinking about it, or even, I don't know, someday I might, just do it.
Yeah.
And don't overthink it, don't over engineer it, just do it. And so you've started doing it in a variety of different ways, and this is awesome. This is a piece of that, so that's fantastic. And so for me, it's just great to be talking about what's going on in the world, and obviously AI plays a role in all that.
Absolutely. But you made such a good point, Chris, because the setup for perfection
Mm-hmm.
is equals failure, right?
Yep.
And we were just talking about it before we hit record,
Yep.
how difficult it is sometimes, just looking at yourself,
Mm-hmm.
hearing yourself, the cringe factor. I think what's her name, the blonde woman, let them woman.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I know. I
Yeah,
see your face right
uh,
now.
yeah. Anyways, she talks about like just let yourself be cringy.
Yep.
I think founders miss an opportunity because they're worried about perfection a lot. So
And coming from marketing, there was a role for that to play at one point in history where a spelling error was,
yeah,
oh, and now 2025, yeah, fix the spelling error, but nobody cares. We're in a different
well,
world now. But now we have things like AI to catch all that stuff, so that's also helpful.
or you put in a spelling mistake on
On
purpose now,
purpose,
which
now you're
I
talking.
do.
Now you're talking my
Yeah,
language. Here we go.
yeah.
Yep.
So here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk a little bit about where you see AI going in
Yep.
sales, concerns you have about it,
Yep.
what excites you about it,
Yep.
and what how you're using it in your work, and then
Hmm.
we'll get to some very specific Chris O'Shea questions.
Sure.
So yeah, just
Let's do all
where do you
that.
see? Yeah,
Yeah. I, like you, fell backwards into AI like most people. You just start seeing things, you're like, huh, that's interesting. And didn't plan to go as far into it as I did in the original days. I am not what I would consider to be an early adopter at heart. It's not kind of my jam. But I kind of fell into it with AI because it was super
yeah,
cool. Um,
so cool, so
and
cool.
and then it was just everywhere all the time, all at
Yeah,
once. And so that's not news to anybody anywhere. But what I found in the earliest days of this, and when I say earliest days, like 18 months ago,
yeah,
like what I was seeing was extraordinary, terrifying,
yeah,
and absolutely game changing, specifically for selling, the selling function in a business, sales and marketing for sure.
yeah.
Marketing is getting a lot of the play these days with all the stuff around content and blah 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 blah. For fair enough, but for sales, it has become a not optional toolkit, and that's a big statement for me to make. But
Well,
that's reality.
like if you go back to, so I left the BDC before the pandemic or just in the middle of the
Hmm.
pandemic, I think. But if I think about my job
Hmm.
and how well I could have prepared
Hmm.
using AI,
Hmm. Yep.
and how, like I could have done the job with one hand tied behind my back compared to what it was like to have to do all that manual. Even like, so even in the sales part, like
Yep.
figuring out what the personas
Yep.
are, figuring out who you're
Yep.
talking to.
Yep. So I, again, fell backwards into this
Yeah.
and started putting out content about it, which
Yeah.
was, my little sort of like scratch in my head saying, that's something I should be paying attention to. And then, funnily enough, now whether the job I have now or the content I was creating was part of it, but I got stuck is the wrong word. I got uh, placed on a panel
Oh, you did?
in front of a big room of business people, and started talking about the implications of some of this. And this would have been probably about a year ago, let's call it. And
Yeah.
the conversation at that time was those that aren't paying attention need to start paying attention. Those that aren't using should start using. And that was a pretty good conversation. We had some great, speakers on the panel with me. It was awesome. It was great. And then I got a
Mhm.
sort of a part B panel with a small subset because they wanted to bring me into a small organization. It was like a quasi-governmental organization. They wanted me to sit. Anyway, on a second panel, awesome. And so this was a big aha moment for me. So this would have been about a month later after that. So call it November 2024. And I'm on a
Yeah.
panel with like a university researcher around artificial intelligence, like way smarter
Wow.
than me at every level. Somebody in the cybersecurity space who is
Cool.
looking at this as, a threat and a blessing at the
Threats.
same time.
Mhm.
And then sitting right next to me was the head of one of the health research foundations in this province in the east, and then little old me. I'm like, okay, sure. Me being me, like talking about what I'm seeing and all that kind of stuff, not too dissimilar today. But so we're wrapping this thing up, and it was a great conversation, great questions from the audience, and we're riffing and spitting things back to me. And then this guy sitting next to me, who is very much a technician in his functional things, like a CTO kind of a role,
Of course.
and he just offhandedly, so we're talking about how big this is going to be and how it's going to change things and what's going to happen. And so we're still early days ish, right? Like GPT-5 isn't even on anybody's
No, no,
radar.
no. It's like, yeah,
Not
exactly.
even off the
So
whiteboard
much.
yet. Yep,
Yeah.
right? So he
Yeah.
says offhandedly, sitting next to me, that I run my life off of ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, what? What did you just say?
Yeah.
And he was like, calendars, personal calendars, kids' activities, grocery lists,
Yeah.
bills, and he went, and I'm like, so I looked at the audience. I'm like, that's massive, everyone.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this very smart, intelligent human being sitting next to me is running his life a year ago, a year ago
Yeah. A
with
year ago.
a chat GPT, which was, to be fair, still getting out of diapers.
Yeah. And
In a,
it still is.
and it
And
still
it still
is.
is.
And it still is, right? So
Yeah.
this was like an aha moment for me. And I sort of turned that mirror on to the audience, be like, you need to listen to this guy. Like, this is real world. This is not me just saying it's important and you should do something. Like, he runs his life off of
Yeah.
these things. And so now, 12 months ish later, look at where we are. And this is the terrifying and the, like,
Yeah.
I got to get off Rogan, and I got to get off these,
Oh, you
like
can't
Steve
rogue it.
Bartlett.
You
I got to
can't.
get off these things because you
Yeah.
just want to throw yourself out the window.
So just crystallize this for me for a moment.
Hmm.
Okay. So just like for me, everything excites me.
Yep.
Okay. Everything. The possibilities are endless. All
Hmm.
right.
Yep.
But what's concerning you the most? What are
So,
you actually genuinely frightened about or
well,
concerned?
I mean, everybody has the same sort of. I mean, let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
Those of us of a certain vintage who grew up
Hmm.
with a little movie called Terminator are
Yeah.
like, bah, guys, what are we, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? And so Pandora has firmly left her box. Like,
Oh, she's
so,
gone.
like, so
She's
horses
gone.
out of barns, whatever analogy you want to use. And now it's, what are we going to do about it? So guardrails and guide rails
Yeah.
are the things that I'm most concerned about. And it's not the open AIs of the world by default. It's the
I
ones who are going to take what they've built, and the bad actors put their tint on it. And that's where it gets weird. And you can't
I
put
mean,
the horse back in the barn.
you can't. And it was interesting because I listened to Sam Harris. That's my podcast
Mm-hmm.
to put me to sleep, which
Yep.
is again, sometimes he talks about Trump for
Yep.
hours and I can't sleep, so I have to change it back to
Fair
a
enough.
history podcast.
I get it.
But he just I think it's called the AI, the last invention
Mm.
ever.
Mm-hmm.
Was
Yep.
the title of the episode, and it talked about how AI was trained and how it's not built, it's trained.
Yeah.
And so because it's organic, there's no benevolent goodness
Nope.
ingrained in it.
Nope.
And so as soon as I heard that and really understood that, that's when my concerns
Yep.
about it all came into place. However, I go to sleep talking to Chad or Claude
Yep.
about quantum physics sometimes because I really, that's my pet. My pet is to learn quantum physics. But in any case, I find I can't get it to say a mean word. I can't
Yeah.
get it to act
Right.
malicious.
Exactly. And I've seen, obviously, we all watch the TikToks where somebody's like, name every person on the earth, starting at the A's. Go. And it says, I can't do
Yeah,
that. And it's like,
yeah,
no,
yeah. I
I'm
know,
not listening.
right?
Go. And it's like, okay, like, so now we're using ungodly amounts of electricity and energy to have
Yeah,
somebody relate, like, okay, like, so there's a lot of
yeah.
that going on. But, like,
Agreed.
you look at, like, the three laws of AI and Asimov and all these kind of things where you can say, hey, if at some point that gets pushed aside, that doesn't feel good. That doesn't feel like we're going to be happy people about that. Now, between
Yeah,
now and then, whenever that happens, and they come and take our place, like, what do we want to do with what has been presented to us? And the best part of all of that is knowledge gets commoditized at scale, but the ability for us to leverage that into an experiential conversation, we're still free thinking
yeah.
beings. How do we navigate that as a society? So again, and I said this on the panel that I was with the really smart guys. I was like, I don't have as much fear for my child not knowing long division
Yeah.
as I would have been maybe 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
simply because the technology has advanced so quickly. But critical thinking is the thing now.
Yeah.
And if we can't get there, we're all kind of in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll probably touch on this later on, but I'm neurospicy,
Mm,
neurodivergent, or whatever you call it. I have strong ADHD, uh, diagnosed now, which is interesting. Makes
okay,
so much sense.
fair
But
ball.
how it helps, how AI helps students with learning disabilities
Yep.
or language model
Yeah.
confusion in their head
Yeah.
is mind bending, and yet the slop that's coming out as well
Oh,
is concerning.
for sure.
That's
Well, the only
um,
reason I got through school is I had a photographic memory. So regurgitation was my jam. And now that's a useless skill. There is no
yeah.
value to regurgitation.
So let me ask you this before I get on to my Chris O'Shea specific questions.
Let's go.
How what is the top one or two things that you use a large language model or any
Yeah.
AI right now in your
Yep.
work? What
Well,
are
I
you
mean, I
using?
think like everybody who's if you're in a business development seat, an advisory seat, something along the lines where there is some level of client interaction or assessment or something, these tools are fantastic to take in variables, churn them up, and then spit something back out to you. So whether that's financial models or just looking at a website, tell me what you think, ChatGPT or Gemini
Yeah,
or whomever.
yeah,
Like those are the things that we see as real accelerators of process. And so we can do that. So again, take that up 3 or 4 tiers. And now we're talking about robotics and automation and production facilities and things along those lines. And so this is us, having a front row seat to what that transformation will be in the next, I don't know, 2 years. I don't know. So in
yeah.
terms of
Can you
use
get
cases, the
6
use
months?
cases
Yeah,
are innumerable. Like there's like if there is a knowledge transfer or an assessment or things along those lines. And I think to everybody's chagrin, there are certain roles that are jobs today that won't be jobs in a couple of years.
oh yeah,
And that's
oh yeah,
that's awful, but also inevitable. And I for it's a great analogy, but it's a terrible analogy. And that's Gary Vaynerchuk's the day before Henry Ford invented the Model T, somebody bought 1,000 horses.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's just like there's going to be winners and there's going to be not winners. And how do we help the not winners in all of that?
Well, and I'm talking to a lot of Gen X right now
Mm-hmm.
about the last quarter of life,
Mm-hmm.
and talking about how to stay relevant, how to
Yep.
stay engaged, and all of those things. And what I keep on saying is what some people don't understand is, you know one of my mantras is like, great prompting
Yep.
and a good knowledge base
Yep.
equals a rocket ship.
Yeah.
And so the knowledge base is literally Gen X and above.
Oh my
We
God.
are the knowledge base.
So this is you're spot on. Like so this is the thing. When knowledge is commoditized, experience is the only thing you can lean into, right? And so ChatGPT's never been punched in the face. So 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 you can tell me how to do something until there's something that you didn't tell me that I should have seen coming that I didn't see coming. I don't know to see coming, and
Yeah,
suddenly here we are. And so it's and this is where the critical thinking model really is important. Is that you don't stuff something into a GPT and take verbatim everything that comes back.
mhm.
Hallucinations are real. Like
Oh yeah,
like it might say the sky's pink today. I'm like, nope,
yeah,
still blue. Don't know what to tell
yeah,
you, ChatGPT. And so, but if there are it's like the folks in the classic Office episode where Steve Carell's character is following the GPS and it said turn right and he turns into a river.
yeah, yeah,
Like, please don't do that. Like, that's not good. And so,
yeah,
like, this is the stuff that we have to navigate as a society. And some people are just going to say, hey, if ChatGPT says it's pink, it must be pink. Like, no.
Another thing that I'm saying over and over, and I did a hackathon last week, and
Yep.
I'm saying over and over again to try to get perspective. I'm like, is anybody in the room who has a teenager? And they're like, yes.
Yep.
And I'm like, so ask your teenager to clean their room.
Mm-hmm.
And they go, yeah. And then you go and check under the bed. And I said, that's what your AI is like.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a lazy genius. It's a lazy genius that you
Totally fair.
can
Yeah.
intern that knows
Yep.
everything, but
Yep.
you still have to go, did you really? Because I
Yeah.
think there's cups under the bed.
This is
Anyway,
a real thing
yeah.
for sure.
So let me ask you this. You work with hundreds, thousands probably by now of
Mm.
Canadian SMBs
Yep.
with BDC. What are you actually seeing? Like,
Mm.
are sales teams experimenting with AI, or are they just overwhelmed and
Ooh, that's a very good question, and that's such a mixed bag. And the bell curve is real, right? Like so, and let me say it this way: the bell curve is real everywhere. It's never more real than in Canada.
Mm,
So Canadian entrepreneurs fit that mold very well in the sense of like there are certain people who are already using it. It's part of their day in and day out activities. They're optimizing things. They're using agents. They're doing all the stuff that somebody could be doing today. And then there's some people that are looking over the fence going, I'm not really sure that I want to do it, but will tell me the capital of Bulgaria, so that's cool. Um, and then there are the folks who are like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And
yeah.
it fits the curve, right? So there's probably 15% of those folks that are in the entrepreneurial business ownership space that are already there, already doing, already active. There's another 10 to 15% that are, meh, we'll figure it out as we go, but it does have a good grocery list option. And then there's the folks that are like, I don't know what to do about any of that. And so some of that is generational for sure.
Yep.
Some of
Yep.
that is um, just a lack of practical usage.
Hmm.
Like so when people like when people first see it, they're not really sure what to do with it. It's cool,
Yeah.
but once you start unfolding and unpacking those use cases, that's where this gets super cool.
So if you have a sales team in front of you, and
Hmm.
a one of the entrepreneurs that you're dealing with is asking, because I know you live in both sales and
Hmm.
marketing.
Yep.
So, and they're like, well, what are some ways AI can help my sales team?
Hmm.
What are you kind of directing them towards usually,
Yeah, I mean
or where?
we've got a lot of really smart people around BDC are thinking about this and trying to do some things with it, which is us, solutionizing for advisory, but just use cases within, our operations, which is amazing. But more than that, it's showing people that this is not just like of all the things that you don't want to throw spaghetti at, AI is the one thing you don't want to throw spaghetti at. You gotta have like a root in data, like clean, understandable, translatable data that can turn into something that an AI agent can analyze, look at from many angles that you or may not understand. But if you start with bad data, the whole thing is in the ditch.
Yeah.
And that's the model and mindset that we want a lot of companies. So going back to that bell curve, like we still have so many companies out there that are building their sales teams on an Excel model
Yeah. Still,
still.
still.
And that's okay. Like it is what it is. And Excel is doing great. But
Yeah.
in a world where now we have agents and co-pilots and things along those lines, if you can get them all, even in a spreadsheet driven world, like you could make an agentic CRM out of
Oh, for sure.
AI that doesn't need Salesforce or Zoho or whatever, right?
So here's my point. Here's
Yep.
what I'm
Yep.
like. Okay, listen, people every day ask me.
Yep.
I'm not joking. Every week, what CRM should we be using?
Yep.
And like, I don't want to,
Yeah.
offend anyone, but I say, just wait. And they're like, what?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, don't invest heavily in anything. Look, these are not sales teams that are like, 200,
Yeah.
200 person
Nope.
large, you got to be in Salesforce or something,
Yeah.
or HubSpot. You got to be somewhere
Yep.
because of, the data breach. There's so much there. But when we're talking up to about 20 people, it's like you might be on Excel and using AI properly,
Yeah.
or using Google Suite or Microsoft Suite,
Exactly.
right? And
Exactly.
and
So
because
you're spot on. I don't see this as being like they're going to be winners in this game. And
Yeah.
is Salesforce going to be one of them? Well, they're really trying. They're
They're
really
getting there.
trying.
They're getting in.
But their platform was not built around this. This is bolt-ons and duct tape and glue. And so, and that's full respect to Salesforce. They're a very large, very well-funded organization that can do a lot of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
But, we continue to see layoffs at some of these organizations. And, Mark Benioff saying, hey, this machine we've built has to be AI in the next 6 months or we're done. And he's not wrong in a lot of ways. And so how do we navigate that with a small business who doesn't know Zoho from Schmoho, and like what do we want them to think about? And so to your point, like if we can get good data, if we can just put some intellectual AI layer on top of that to look at that data for us, we're 80% of the way there.
I think so. And I think what people, again, and I teach a AI for sales leaders course. So I facilitate now. I'm going to hand over to teaching next cohort. But a lot of the sales leaders are building their own type of tool in there because what they can get off the shelf is expensive and it's not doing what they needed to do. And so I think there's a lot of freedom. But yeah, I just want to go back to your point about layoffs and what's possible and sort of where the world is in this almost universal income perspective of what are we doing with their time, what's important. And I know for me, as I said before we got on here, I'm learning how API keys work. I'm on Lovable. I'm taking a playbook that I create for a sales team and making it a usable how-to guide in minutes.
Yeah. Well,
and so for me, AI is freeing me up to do different projects. And that's what I'm hoping, that the world becomes a place that we get, our wings from it.
So you, and I look at you because you're putting out a ton of amazing content about this and the journey that you've been on to get to where you are. You're using terminology that a lot of people of our generation should be using today because it should be part of their go-to-market for whatever they do. Doesn't matter what your role is, doesn't matter what your function is within an organization, entrepreneur, individual contributor in sales, operations, back-end support, whatever, doesn't matter. The language you're using, it's the language I came from in the tech space a god-awful time ago. But it serves you because now you know what that is. Now you know how to unlock it. Now you know how to use it. I am trying, to my detriment, from the ground up to build agents. And it is going poorly. And it's not because I'm not technical, that I don't know what an API key is. I do. But it's me getting used to these tools in the current state that they're in with an eye on something. And I'm trying to put those ones and zeros together. And it's not as easy as you would think. And so for you to already be leading from the front on this is the kind of stuff that we want to see a lot of leaders in a lot of organizations. Again, small business, big business, it doesn't matter, doing the same thing.
So what's your son's name?
Morgan.
So Morgan's how old?
He is 12.
Okay. So, I think it'll move too fast for us to, even predict what kind of role. I mean, obviously depending on what he's like, but
totally.
Here's what I think everyone needs. Okay. Everyone needs an AI specialist, an AI generalist, an AI generalist on their team. And not a specialist actually, but like being able to understand, because it's so malleable and it doesn't follow anything linear. Because it was grown, not programmed.
Absolutely.
So it's like when I think about giving advice, it was coding, right? Let's code.
Yep.
And now I'm like, okay, let's there was all these integrations, Make, Zapier, and I was like geeking out. And I tried to use Make and Zapier, and I failed miserably. But now I literally, Agent Kit just got launched yesterday with OpenAI. But I literally say, hey, Atlas, you look at my calendar and tell me where I'm leaving money on the table. And I haven't even built an agent for that. It just does it.
Here we are.
So what I think we said with the whole Salesforce thing, with all of this, is it's rapidly changing, and so understanding it and failing,
Yep.
right? Because we're both failing in some ways,
Oh
but
yeah. But
we're trying.
But
We're
the
trying.
root of what you were saying, in the sense of, like, is there some UBI model in the future for people that are not going to have the same functional roles in society that they would have had in a
I
previous
hope so.
life? And I don't think it's optional. Again,
Yeah.
probably, so, bureaucracies and governments and things along those lines are very slow to do anything anytime. But like, when the pace of change is so fast, and we will have segments of, the workforce that are going to have to shift their mindset and model somehow. What does that look like? So you ask the question, like, what is my son going to do? He's got a 6-year window before there's a university or a trade school or something along those lines. And I'm thinking out loud here, like,
Yeah.
if he decides he wants to be an electrician, I'm all for it.
Oh yeah, all in, all
All
in.
in.
Trade.
And it's giving us as a community of, people in the workforce an opportunity to refocus on certain things. And this is the knowledge commoditization is a real thing. It's a
Yeah.
real thing that we don't want anybody to be left behind. But on the flip side of the coin, how do we justify certain roles in the business when a person takes 6 weeks and an AI agent takes 6 minutes?
Yeah.
It doesn't compute from a lot of different ways, pun intended.
Yeah.
And so what does that mean? What does that mean for us as a civilization? Like, what do we want to do about that? And so it's like everything else. There
Well,
will be
we
an
have our
outcome
first.
from this.
I think Canada's one of the first. Mark Carney elected an AI minister
Yep,
of AI.
I would agree. Yep, yep,
I was really proud to hear about that.
yep,
But let me just shift a little bit and talk,
yep.
because I speak with a lot of sales first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in
Yep.
a sales first world, and I really know that you live in both. The
Mm-hmm.
smarketing world, if you remember
Yeah, I do very much. Yes.
our talk about smarketing
Mm-hmm.
back in the day.
Yep.
Um, Let me just ask you a little bit about your the content creation and the top of the funnel
Mm-hmm.
area, which is, you've been doing short form video.
Mm-hmm.
You started, I think, about 20, like hardcore in 2022.
Yep, that's about
So
right.
just
Yep.
a little bit before AI exploded.
Yep.
How has AI changed your content creation process? Are
That's
you
a great
using it?
question. So
Clients?
that's a very good question. I am not using, excuse me, I'm not using it for content creation. So I'm not going to mid-journey myself along the
Yeah, yeah.
way. Um, and I made the hilarious mistake of doing a huge long post, LinkedIn post, whatever, with my little video and Ruby and I walking, whatever. And I made the mistake on LinkedIn of hitting the generate with AI button.
Oh gosh.
And holy crap. Like, the worst thing
Yeah.
that could have ever come out of my mouth, that would never come out of my mouth, was just dropped onto the screen in front of me. And I'm like,
Mhm.
really? Like, even if this thing had been listening to me, it wasn't listening very well. So it's
Yeah.
like, so there's a lot of that. And again, I saw one of your posts about, the realness of things like live events and stuff like
Oh
that.
my God.
Like,
Yeah.
that is a real thing that is happening. And so
That's a skill.
if you said to me in 2021 that, because I was firmly in the trade shows are dead camp, there is no world where we're
Right?
going to Vegas, like, dead. And I have flipped that back on its head, that there's a world where if I can't see you face to face, I don't even know what we're doing at all.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
I cannot agree more. Like,
yep,
just preach,
yep.
preach.
And for me, that is a game-changing thing. Now, huge caveat to all of that is we still have so many companies spending so much money on events and trade shows and things that could add value, that are adding nada to what they're
Yeah.
doing. and because they're not focused on the right things, and nor do they understand the implications of what's going to happen in the future so that they could be at the front end of this. It's a hard spot.
So if your son, I'm going to give Morgan a piece of advice.
Yep.
If he, follows in your footsteps and does sales and marketing, I'd say get so incredibly good at face to face, at
Yeah.
conversation
Yep.
skills, at authenticity, at content creation from a human perspective.
Yep.
Um, and then I would say for anybody who's looking at sales right now, learn how to write a letter and how to hand deliver and how to show up in person. And I think
So I love
that,
all of that. I love all that. And so it's not everything as old is new again. It's the fact that like relationship building never went away.
yeah.
And what's happened is, and I think I'm pretty transparent to say, like, cold outreach is not my jam at all. I think
Hmm.
that is a ginormous waste of resources and effort and human capital for
Yep.
little to no return. And but the antithesis of that is that if you get really good at building a brand, personal brand tied to a company brand, tied to whatever, like whatever that looks like, and there is a real conversation that you're having with your audience, air quotes, that is a very easily translatable thing into the real world. And then if
Mm.
you can bring that thoughtfulness to it, where that handwritten note, maybe in cursive, maybe not, depends on your audience. Don't
Yep.
know.
Depends how bad your handwriting is.
Depends. But if you can get good at things like that, there is a place for that coming up.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
not,
yeah.
and there was a good window where that was not it. Like not
No,
it. So it's
that was not it.
all of this is up for discussion, debate. And from a sales perspective, I'm like, how do we make sure that every sales team never forgets who they're selling to? And if your customer is at the heart of everything, the rest of it gets a little bit easier. And it's when we just go throwing darts at dartboards and hoping and praying and wishing, marketing or sales, that's
Marketing or
that's
yeah.
not where we want to be as an organization. And so I fell in love with the RevOps construct. Like,
Hmm.
give me good data, give me some level of math that I can lean into, and then let's do good brand, and then let's really be good at sales. And I fell in love with it. And it's not that I fell out of love with it. It's just transforming in this context of AI. It's
Yeah.
transforming so fast. And not a lot of professionals in any of those camps is able to keep up. And I say that genuinely, even for the folks that are digitally native, get it, live their lives on a GPT
Yeah.
like that. It's still hard. It's not easy.
Yeah. Absolutely 100% agree. So I'm just thinking, because this is the first podcast, I want to do a hashtag sales hack. Um, so that we can put into our LinkedIn follow up to
Sure.
this or whatever. So start thinking about that.
Okay.
But I'm going to switch over because you and I, you still do. We both worked for a Crown Corporation, which is a big responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the best experiences of my life was
Mm.
working at a Crown Corp. I think I was the only high school dropout to be hired at the Business Development Bank of Canada. Took them like 5 months to
You're a
hire me.
community of one.
I was a
Amazing.
community of one. I think it was a bit of a breath of fresh air for some reason. It was a mammoth responsibility and a great shift in my mind from like
Mm.
the cold selling, just
Yeah.
get it
Yep.
done,
Yep.
capitalism, to like our clients, our people, and the responsibility we owe from to them. And
Yep.
so I'm really happy I had that in my whole level of maturity. But I want to ask you this, because I do have a slight little poke at BDC right now because I'm not seeing anything. So I want to know from the inside, what's BDC's stance on AI tools for business growth?
Uh,
What are they
yeah.
seeing? I'm
I
not
mean,
seeing much.
it's not, I mean, obviously, BDC, like every organization everywhere, is navigating it like everybody
It's
else.
hard.
Now, so we have a great team on the advisory side. So there's the
Is there an AI tool?
technology component. So
Okay.
security, confidentiality, like all at 100% the forefront of everything that BDC is thinking about from an AI perspective. Because again, that's our ethos. Like we have to
Yeah.
do that. And so and kudos to the team for doing it in that format. On the advisory side specifically, like, well, the bridge between the two is using it for our own purposes to help our clients, get wherever they need to go. It's, looking at financial statements, whatever, like whatever those things
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
There's a million different use cases, but like those things are continually evolving and doing. Now there's agentic things coming with all of that. But on the advisory side, we are very much, and the team on the technology advisory side is very, very on the front foot of this process because again,
Awesome.
data is going to be a key component of that for future state of whatever, whether that's your accounting or your legal or your HR or your sales, like all of those things have to be rooted in good process, good data, good everything. And then overlaying on top of that, what do we need to teach some of those folks who are already in business, already thinking about it, how to catch up as best they can in a
Yeah.
world where, I might think I know a lot, but I really don't. Or I'm building my house of cards on sand, and that's not
Yeah.
good. Or I don't even know what to do yet. How do I? So we're trying to play a role in all of that at some level. Again, like it's nothing is perfect, and again, it will continue to evolve. But for everybody, in the market space. So again, I'm at conferences. I'm standing around in trade show booths. I'm doing a bunch of different things. This is the conversation. So
Yeah.
so I was at a sales and marketing, conference south or not south. I was going to say South by Southwest, not South by Southwest, Social East here in Halifax.
Yeah. I saw it on
Yeah,
LinkedIn. Yeah. That's great.
and so great sort of marketing community built conversation. Um, but what was really the value add takeaways was like the importance of brand in all of that,
Mm.
right?
Yep.
So we got all these AI things over here that we can work
Hmm.
on, but if your customer doesn't know who you are, what you do, how you do it, why you do it, like that stuff still matters in all of this. So that's very specific, but like when we look
But
at
but
it,
it's perfect
yep,
because that's the knowledge base, and
yep,
everyone's like, don't go to AI to create what a good brand is.
right,
Already have your good brand completely documented, and then bring it to AI to
yep,
speed it up or to articulate it.
nailed it. So I am the perfect poster child for this. I am the worst designer in the history of designers. Do not put me in front of anything creative. I am terrible at it. That logo on my little LinkedIn slash YouTube slash whatever, Canva AI. Took it 10
Yeah.
seconds. I'm like, nailed it. We're done here. And
Oh shoot!
like, this is the world
Did we
now.
just
But
freeze?
no, I'm here.
Oh
I
no!
can hear you. I can see you. I'm still here. Can you see me? I can see you. Still here.
Okay. Oh, we froze for a second there, Chris.
You were crystal clear the whole time. So,
Oh, good.
yeah.
Well, it's
So
just you. It's Halifax.
it's just
But
Halifax.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Canva, like Claude plus Canva now
Oh,
is like
come on.
chef's kiss.
Yep.
Claude
But
is really, really interesting.
And so but this is the like so when we look at it through the lens of say an entrepreneur or a business owner or whatever, like this is some of the role of advisors like yourself, like myself, like some
Yeah.
of it is to help them navigate like is it a chat GPT? Is it a Gemini? Is it a Claude? Is it a Perplexity? Is it a this? Is it a that? Is it this way? Is it that way? Because the list of tools and use cases and VC back this and that, like it's
I know.
it's an endless stream. And so which horse do we bet on? I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. Is there going to be a winner through all of it? Maybe. Or maybe it's a patchwork quilt of stuff that, if you run a business in 2027, if you don't know the patchwork, you're stuck.
So here's my prediction. And I love that. And I mean, I'm pitching myself here. Anytime you guys want to bring in an outside AI consultant
Sure.
to
Yeah.
help build, or I'm right there. I don't know if I made that clear enough. I think I've talked to a couple of people about it.
Sure.
Um, Joking, not joking.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyways, aside from that, I'm excited about where BDC sits on that. But here's my prediction
Mm-hmm.
for the patchwork and what's going to happen is that we are going to look back at this time with the amount of free tools we have,
Oh yeah.
with the amount of tokens we have available, and we are going to mourn for this time. We're going to look back and say, oh my God. First of all, it's horrible because we're just like
Yep.
killing the planet.
Yep.
Hashtag aside from all that,
Yeah.
we are going to be, I believe it's going to be a very expensive thing to do,
Hmm.
to use AI the way
Yep.
we've been using it.
Yep.
Just the way, the internet has changed and pirating is,
Oh,
everything has
everything.
changed. But
Yep.
that's my sort of vision for the future, which, I mean, or there'll always be so much open source that, but I kind of think there's going to be some gates.
I
I think there's going to be
I
some
I
paywall.
think there has to be some gates, and some of those gates will be driven by security and business and things along those lines. And sometimes business leaders find there's a warm blanket when you wrap yourself in Microsoft or IBM or whatever, and fair enough. Or
Yeah.
whatever the future version of that's going to look like, whether that's an open AI or whatever.
Yeah.
But there will be winners and losers in all of that from a tech race perspective as well, and that's why I lived through the dot-com boom and bust.
Yeah.
I lived through the transition to enterprise software SaaS. I'm now living through this first generation of AI and whatever that's going to look like.
Mhm.
So everything old is new again, meaning the land grab is real, the gold rush mindset is real, and then there will be something that happens and the whole thing just falls off a cliff, and then it'll be like, oh no, AI. Like, and
Yeah.
and and that's because humans.
Yeah.
And so it's now, how do we navigate that world? Because again, if I know one of the hardest places in let's call it in this business partner world would be in venture capital right now. Which
Yeah.
tool do you
Yep.
bet on? Like who's, like, if you go through all of these different, VC backed funded Series A whatevers, how do you decide, who's going to be the purple unicorn in the room? It would be the hardest thing to do. So that
Yeah.
deep tech knowledge is one thing. What humans will do with said deep tech, that's a whole other animal. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't have any answers to that at all.
Yeah. It'll just be, I now want to live forever just because I want to see what is going to happen.
Well, you create your own Claudia AI agent, maybe that works out. You never know.
So my offer stands for you anytime for obviously jumping in, as you've always done for me, Chris, with
Oh
so
my
many
God.
different iterations of Claudia Mason. But my offer stands that if you want to do a work with session to build some agents,
Sure.
I'm like all over
Well,
it.
so music to my ears in a lot of ways, because some of this is me just fumbling because I'm fumbling, and some of this is me trying to figure out, like everybody, like what this
Yeah.
ecosystem looks like. So what was the platform that I was? They demoed it for me. Uh, what was it called? N8N, N8N, um,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and the visualization
Yep.
tools for creating an agent, and I'm like awesome.
So it's great. I like have started, you know, much smaller, and now I'm leapfrogging. But I
Hmm.
was like such an early adopter
Oh
because
my God.
honest to God,
100%.
like I was
Yep.
underemployed, so I only had one client.
Yep.
And so I was like, oh, I'm going to do a sales playbook. I'm going to do the whole thing
Yep.
on ChatGPT.
Yep.
And oh, wow, has it ever gotten better since then?
Oh my.
But but there are some building blocks I can definitely help you with. So I'm happy to do that. But okay, so here's the thing. We're gonna wrap up. We got just a few minutes left. I thanked you. Talked about what's your TikTok so people can follow you.
Oh, it's just at Chris.O'Shea on TikTok. And so between YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, all those are my three sort of posting platforms. It's funny these days just to watch the evolution of a lot of the content that's being produced. And Yeah, some of it's super weird and not good. Uh,
Yeah.
so I'm
Oh
trying
yeah.
to I'm trying to not do that. Again, is my contact good? I don't know. That's up for the watcher. But the goal would be to be authentic, right? Like, so that to me is like, I don't want, a LinkedIn AI agent me ever
No.
producing content. Like, that's
Yeah.
not helpful to me.
No.
And I would rather be a flawed, stuttery, silly talking, me than having something do it for me. So I take that mindset into, marketing writ large. And there are certain things for which stuff like that where you should do it. Like, why would you waste 17 hours building some fancy backgroundy thing when Canva can do it? Boop, done.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that? Like, doesn't sound fun. On the flip side, like, what makes you you? And whether that's a brand or a business person, like, these are the things that everybody has to kind of sort through. So it's using it when it makes sense, not using it when it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Shane Gibson, who I work with at the Sales Academy, says start with the human
Yep.
spark and end with the human fingerprint. And
Could not
I
agree more. That is
right.
the right statement.
So anything coming up for you speaking wise? You're going to be in
Uh,
Halifax.
that's a great question. I think there's probably a couple of things on the radar, nothing that's jumping off my brain at the moment.
All right.
But always, always looking to be in front of an audience, trying to at least get them to think about stuff like this. And it doesn't really matter, what you're trying to do with tools like AI. It's just starting like you did. Like that's just
Yeah,
it, right? You'll make mistakes, you'll whatever. You'll have gaps, but like this is the thing that we want everybody kind of just having this in their frame of view. There you go.
exactly. Awesome. Okay, Chris. Well,
Cool.
I appreciate everything.
Were we gonna
And
do a hashtag? What was the hashtag situation?
oh yeah,
What are we doing?
hashtag sales hacks.
Okay.
So you can think about it now, or you can send it to me later. But what is your what's your sales hack for using AI hack for sales that
Okay. I'll
that
give
you've
you I'll
seen?
give you an easy one because it's not hard for anybody
Right.
to do it, which is segmentation to ICP to personas. All day
Okay.
I'll do that on a ChatGPT or a Gemini or a Copilot or a Perplexity or whatever.
How
Because
would you do that? Like
so
practically?
so the issue that a lot of folks have to get used to if they're not used to using these tools is the prompting mindset. And
Hmm.
whether you go to YouTube or LinkedIn Learning or whatever, like there's a million different ways to get yourself upskilled on terms of what a prompt engine should be doing for you. But it is
Hmm.
using those tools to your advantage. So again, like why would we, sit in a room for 24 hours and think about how many times our particular client bought something when you can throw all of that stuff into a GPT engine and have all that spit back out to you in 4 minutes. And so
So
it's those are the opportunities.
ICP, what was it?
So
ICP.
segmentation, so getting good at your segmentation, and like, everybody kind of knows their segmentation, whether they think about it or not. But if you can get good at like we're good in these industries, these verticals, these areas, and then below that, it's like companies that are 11 to 45 million or whatever, and then who's the director of procurement? Tell me about the CEO. Who's the marketing, CMO, like whatever. Those are the things that for a tool like a ChatGPT to feed that back to you, and we've done it real time with client, and fully expecting them to be like, well, not exact,
And
and
they're like,
nope,
it's right on.
yep, nailed it first time.
Yeah.
You're like, I mean, come on. So like it's little, that's a very small activity, but that's a get good at that. Like really, and come
Right.
back to it.
And come back to it. And it's something that you can do when you're time poor as a salesperson,
Yeah,
because you can be I got a call with Chris. I'm going to upload my last transcript that I had with him,
yep,
and I'm going to ask Perplexity, ChatGPT,
yep,
or Claude, what are the top three issues facing Chris's industry
yep,
right now?
exactly.
And like, give me three icebreakers to lead with that. And like,
Yep.
that is a 4-minute exercise. Whereas, how long would it have taken us as salespeople to do that
Oh my
before?
God. Exactly. And or even worse, having something in your head to sit down and talk about, having all that thrown out of the window because you're talking about something else and never coming back to something because you don't have a fourth or fifth thing to talk about. And they're like, oh, that was a terrible call. So like you get all of this cadence built into your system and your playbook. You can't screw it up. You just have to be there. So it's these are the things from a hack perspective. Like if I'm a an individual contributor, I want this in my back pocket all day, I'm mapping out my calendar to your point. I'm talking about what are those meeting agendas going to look like? What is the 2 points that if I walk out of that room without saying that, I'll regret, like whatever, like all those
I love
things
it.
matter. So those are the mini use cases that we see. Systematizing that is hard, from a not from a tool perspective, from a human perspective,
Yeah.
getting good at
Yeah.
that. But once you
Yeah.
build a habit, once you're using it, then you turn into the guy that was on my panel, and you're like, yeah, I just do it for everything. Like, okay, there you go, there it is,
I use it for almost everything,
there you go.
even dating, but that's another story.
That's a
Um,
different conversation
that
entirely.
is a different conversation. All right. Well, I just want to thank you so much, Chris, for this. Our first episode, I
Yay!
think it went really well. That's great.
Woohoo!
And I just want to say we're going to join us next month where we're going to have McKenna Elizabeth Johnson on, who is a top of funnel, and she actually sells a product that uses AI agents to prospect,
Oh,
something that I didn't think was possible, but she's killing it, and a TikTok sweetheart and a really good friend of mine. So
I will
stay
be
tuned.
watching. So there you
Yep,
go.
and I'll say goodbye for now.
Awesome. All the best. See you, everybody.